Hello, Drunkduckers. This is Ozone Ocean Tance and Baines. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
And this is the Drunkduck Quackcast number 779. Today is Valentine's Day when we're recording it, so that will be our subject. Valentine's Day.
All right.
All right.
Oh yes, that was our theme song. Now we're going to introduce our featured comic now. And the comic I featured was Abnormal Alliance. So I'm going to tell you about Abnormal Alliance now. Hello, I'm Ozone Ocean and my feature for the week was Abnormal Alliance. This is a cheeky spoof on the Marvel Avengers and superheroes in general. It's a sexy, fun, silly and wild comic. Bugman tries to lead his disparate group of failed heroes who most of the time seem to be battling issues they've caused themselves. Out of all the heroes, the most interesting of the group to me is Proxy, who is a lazy streaming gamer / influencer type who uses a drone telepresence to a robot for his work. So that's quite interesting for his hero work. So basically he sits on the computer at home, games, films himself, does all the crappy, stupid, ridiculous things an influencer does, responds to comments constantly. All the while he's piloting his drone superhero robot who is hanging out with the other heroes in the Heroes Alliance. And of course, because he's doing that, his mind isn't on the job and he goes, to the shop to buy Pop-Tarts and all these kinds of things. So he's a very crappy hero. But I liked the way that was structured in a very contemporary thing. I'm not sure if anyone's ever done that before. Maybe they have, but anyway, it's cool that it works that way in the hero group. Anyway, the art is all full color. It's cel shaded with a manga influence, which you can see by the big eyes, flat coloring, all that kind of stuff that manga has. The story is a wacky superhero adventure. So if you like superhero adventure spoof, have a look at this. It's a bit sexy too. The characters wear kind of very sexy clothes. Two of them do anyway, which is also another appealing thing, but it's not adult, it's just rated M for mature. So enjoy Abnormal Alliance by David Argon 95, rated M. Read it. That was Abnormal Alliance, which is a good little feature comic. Okay, so next up we'll have a best of from Gumwallis, and I've got to pick something romantic this time. So that's what I'll pick. So here is my romantic pick for Gumwallis. Kaiju Valentine is what I picked this week, which is a comic by Baines, our very own Baines, and it was originally featured on Quackcast number 714 from the 19th of November 2024. Stomp meets a big stomping monster woman as she bops and bounces heavily to this cool, percussive and yet somewhat ethereal sound. It's party time here in Kaiju Land. This is an infectious dance number. So take it away, Gumwallis, with your Kaiju Valentine. was our little best of from Gummel. So we're talking about romance stuff because we're recording this on Valentine's Day, which is the 14th of February. And the day is sort of hyped as a romance thing, which is, I don't know, and you know, what is kind of romance? It's like lovey-doveyness between couples, mainly. That's what it's focused on.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that kind of I've always found romance to be a weird word. Because I always think of romance as the older meaning of Rome, like Rome. Basically, romance, I think, as a word, was developed to be evocative of Rome, and that's like, okay, so not like ancient Rome, but in a contemporary sense, but the nostalgia for Rome, that kind of thing. Like,
maybe interesting.
So and it's a word that's often misunderstood. So when you say, if you're saying like, that's a romantic view of something, it doesn't mean that it's romantic as in lovey-dovey. It means like nostalgic. It means it's an idealized artificial view. That's what it means. So that's what I've always...
Yeah.
There's those two meanings for romance. One is like, okay, let's, the kind of McDonald's Happy Meal version, which is, lovey-dovey. And there's the more kind of real meaning, which is that idealized nostalgia. So that's the true meaning of romance, which I've always found it interesting.
Yeah, in Greek, if someone is romantic, I mean, you do have the romantic, like the romantic lovers, being very pink and full of hearts floating all around them. But the adjective, someone is romantic, also means someone that is more ideological and less pragmatic, like the kind of guy or girl or whoever that is going to be the ideologue, the one that strives for the greater concepts of the fine truths or whatever. So, and less a person that would be like a realpolitik, very pragmatic, like this is reality, and we're not going for, I don't know, freedom or justice or whatever. So a romantic person would be the one that who wants pure forms of freedom or justice or whatever. The one that would be the opposite of that would be the one that compromises and even does the opposite of justice in the name of justice, because that's the realistic thing.
Yeah.
So that would be also the term.
That's
Greek,
very much so. Yeah. I mean, in English as well, we've got romantic poets and all that kind of stuff, and they're not people who do poets about love stories. They're idealists, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone is...
Somebody called me... sorry.
I was going to say, if someone is a romantic, that's, they're a dreamer. They're not someone who does... Yeah. Anyway, go on, Baines.
Yeah. Someone called me a romantic for saying... I don't know. But no, he said it, and I... But he said it because we were talking about, like, death for some reason. And, how would we like to go? Or I don't remember the conversation, but I said something. I said, like, well, I guess if I could choose, it would be like if I could, like, push someone out of the way of an oncoming truck. And that's how I die. That would be like my ideal death. Not the pain part, but to do something good for somebody. And I think you said I was a romantic.
Oh.
That I think somewhat ties in with
Aw.
what Francis. Never occurred to me that word would apply to that.
Yeah, and you know what would happen if you do end up pushing someone out of the way of a truck and you die? You'll end up in a fantasy world. That's the rules, basically. With extra powers. Overpowered.
That's a good point. I didn't even think that far ahead.
We should all be so lucky.
I don't think I've ever heard of
know.
Isekai at that point.
I don't know. The whole concept of being isekai in some other world is fun to watch, but I would bet it's really, really tough to live through and freaky. So, no thanks.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that. I mean, I just want to be gone.
Yeah.
Whatever happens after
Yeah, like, I'm checking out, man. I don't want to check in anywhere else.
that. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I think being isekai would be pretty awful because those worlds suck, but I'd prefer that to death, so. That sounds pretty. An okay compromise.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're supposed to be talking about love and romance, but just as an aside, I mean, I guess at the face of death, nobody knows how they will react until it happens. If you have like any kind of chance to react to in face while we are facing death, but assuming that my estimation of myself is realistic, I wouldn't be afraid of it. I remember when I went under anesthesia for an operation, and it was like lights out. I didn't even realize I was sleeping. Then I just came to, and it occurred to me I was waking up, which is weird what my mind was analyzing at the time. Like, okay, if this is how death feels, even the nihilistic version of, when you die, there's nothing else. If I'm wrong about my religion or whatever, it's fine. I'm okay with just being lights out and not even realizing it. Because the only time I realized I was like I lost consciousness was when I came to. So it was fine.
Yeah.
And that took away a lot of my fear of death, I'll say. So
I love how this romance cast has just gone straight into death.
I love it too. And now we have a great title, Love and Death. It's a wonderful title for this one.
This is a very gothic
that's
cast
true.
now.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of Valentine's Day gothic themes, so we're not off topic technically.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah, the new big film is the Wuthering Heights again. Margot Robbie has done a version. So and that's about love and death. I mean, the original story, the proper Emily Bronte. Is it not Charlotte? Oh god, I can't remember. I think it's Charlotte Bronte. Who knows?
Emily Bronte. Isn't it?
Charlotte. I think it's Charlotte. Emily is the one with Jane Eyre.
Okay. So the famous Charlotte Bronte story is not about lovey-dovey sweetness between two characters. It is the classic kind of toxic, evil love story. Like from the very beginning, these two characters have like a love-hate relationship with each other. It's really bad. And it gets worse. And there's no love relationship between Heathcliff and Cathy in the whole of the book. There's none of them where they're sweet and they're together and they're going, oh, I love you so much. There's none of that in the entire story at all. I mean, they sort of want to love each other in some kind of aspects, but they hate each other through most of the story. And they hate other people too, because Heathcliff is in a relationship with some person he hates, and Cathy is in a marries someone, she grows to hate, and in the end, she dies, and Heathcliff, like, their spirits find each other in the end, as imagined by this person who is recounting the story. So it's a good story about, real kind of like brutally toxic people getting together. So it's interesting. But people have always interpreted it as some kind of amazing love story with this tall, dark, handsome, mysterious, brooding gentleman and this, winsome, fey, spiritual, like, woman, and they're getting together, which it's absolutely not about that at all. Kathy is a horrible character. She's evil, and Heathcliff is a brutal, evil man. They're both terrible people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never liked the book because of that. I could not like none of the characters in there are sympathetic. There is like as a reader, my general feel was just burn it all down and be done with it. Like, why? What are you doing? Just burn it all down. Move on.
I loved it because it's very, very passionate. People are very passionate in the story, but yeah, it's quite awful in most ways. There's no happy endings for anyone.
You know what? I mean, do you want any happy endings for any of these people? They are like they basically shoot themselves. They do it to themselves. They do it to themselves all the time. Forever. So burn it all down.
And yeah, there's this new movie by Margot Robbie, the Australian actor. And I don't know, I'm probably never gonna see it, but I've just seen, like, the promotional videos for it, and it's why I don't get it. She's this blonde, bleached haired person, whereas the character is dark haired, like, very specifically. She's dark-haired, and Margot Robbie's like blonde, bleached-haired, and she's got dark eyebrows. So there weren't any people in the 19th century with bleached hair and dark eyebrows. They would be looked at as a freak if they had that. That would be weird.
I wonder, but she didn't. You've seen footage, I assume, or photos or something. She hasn't dyed her hair for the.
No, she's left it blonde. She's left it bleached with dark eyebrows. Why?
Yeah.
I don't get it. But then again, I think Wuthering Heights has always been one of those stories that people have always sort of, changed to their own feelings. Like Heathcliff has a very English proper accent, whereas he should be, he's on the Yorkshire Moors or something like that. He should be speaking with a bit of a northern accent, and Kathy should have a northern accent, and he should be sort of swarthy skinned. She never is portrayed as being swarthy. But, oh well. It's an interesting thing. People change love stories to their own, fantasies. Because that's what love stories are about. Fantasies.
What is, like, do you have any, like, favorite book or any, movie or whatever that is romance you like?
I think I can't really name many from the top of my head, but there was a good one. This one's by Anne McCaffrey. So they're science fiction. It's about this these women who they have extrasensory perception or whatever. They can move things with their mind, and in this future world, they have form a gestalt kind of relationship with a huge generator, and they're able to push cargo off into the into space or whatever. And there's the kind of the solar system economy is sort of based around these people, these telepaths or telekinetics who can shift huge loads. and there's this one woman who is like the best at this kind of stuff. You know, she's fantastic, and she's just known as the Rowan, and she's the best at it, but she's really kind of like I don't know, willful, and she can't settle at anything, and she's always angry and stuff like that. She can never like get on with anyone. And that becomes, you know, a real problem for everyone. You know, oh my God, how do we control the Rowan? You know, what's she gonna do now? And eventually she finds love, which is an amazing thing. And the whole story is about her finding love and finding like another part to her kind of personality and settling down because of that. And then the story has like a couple of sequels, like Demir, I think it's called, which is about her daughter and how her daughter sort of has a kind of a similar kind of situation, and a whole bunch of other stories as well. So they're good sci-fi love stories. So there you go. What about you guys? What's your kind of favorite love stories you've read?
Well, I have to see this again. This is a movie. I've got some really like love subplots within books and stuff that I love, that I really think about and enjoy and stuff. But there's a movie, and I've only seen it once. I got to see it again, Before Sunset.
Oh,
which is
yes.
like the middle part of a trilogy, but I didn't respond to the other one much, and I haven't seen the third. But the middle chapter is Before Sunset, and I really like it. Might be my favorite love story.
Before sunrise, before sunset, before midnight, maybe.
I'm not positive on the third one, yeah, but I think Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and then there's the one after.
They were really good. Why did you pick the second one?
Because I really like that age. Like in my 20s, same as the characters. I don't know, I just didn't connect with it, but I really connected to the second one. And I liked the fact that it was in real time. That was really cool. But also just the way they talked, and it was a little deeper. Like the characters were a little deeper, and the ending was really awesome. Really stuck with me, and yeah, I don't know. The second one I really like, but I'm gonna have to check it out again.
Oh, it's a fantastic film. Yeah, I love them. So in the first one, they're these two characters, like like you said, 20-year-olds, like they're backpacking in Europe. They meet on a train. The train suddenly stops, whatever, and they're stuck in the middle of nowhere. You really don't know. So all they can do is like walk around and hang out with each other, and they kind of form a relationship over that period of time as they just hang out in one night in some kind of, I don't know, some weird town somewhere in Europe. And they decide they want to meet or whatever, and you never know what really happened with them in that. You know, did they like have sex or something? Did they, you know, what happened? And in the second film, you learn what happened, I think.
Yeah.
But they planned to meet somewhere the next year, and they never did. Did they? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I guess should we spoil?
No, let's not spoil. Okay, so they plan to meet, and in this second one, you know, stuff happens, and then they're meeting up again, basically. So there we go. I won't spoil it. You're right, because it's too good. Yeah.
It's 10 years later. The second one is like 10 years later, roughly. And so we see them together again, and we get caught up, and we see who they are and all that kind of stuff. And then it's again left kind of open at the end. And then 10 years-ish after that is the third one, which I haven't seen.
Yeah. Well, the third one is a bit of a kick in the guts in some ways, because it's not the kind of the beauty of the first two.
I heard it was kind of depressing. I read that somewhere. Yeah.
It is, but it's what you need for a third one in that kind of story. Okay. So you have like the meeting, the romance of the initial meeting. Then you have the second one, which is like the autumn, and that's like, you know, It's like reliving that nostalgia of the first meeting and
Yeah.
learning some new things. And then the third one is the winter. When
Okay, yeah.
yeah, I won't go into any more of it than that. But
And
they are
all
beautiful
three of
films.
those actors, both those actors are still working. It's Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, and the director has been Richard Linklater, the writer-director. Well, they all wrote it together. Richard Linklater, the director. They're all still working, but I've read that they would have done another one because it's been over 10 years again. But if they had a good story, they didn't have any follow-up. But it would be kind of neat again to see those characters again 10 years later. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But maybe the story's over. What would it be?
I mean, the inspiration for the first story. Did you know the story behind that?
No.
So the inspiration for the story was that Linklater actually experienced that when he was at that age in his 20s, backpacking, and he met a great girl, and they had a thing, and they had a spark, and things were going well, and for some reason they couldn't keep on together, like the characters in the story. And so they had to go apart, but they decided they would meet up in a certain place and a certain time. And he had nowhere to contact her, just like the character in the story. But they were going to meet up, so it was all going to be fine. And he went there like a year later, and he waited, and she never showed up.
Wow.
And he was heartbroken. And sometime later, he learned that there was a car accident and she had died.
No way.
So
Man.
Oh,
So yeah, it was never to be. But that would even make a good story.
Yeah.
Even though it's tragic.
mhm.
So there you go. Yeah, but
And
beautiful.
the movies don't go that way. Spoiler alert. At least not in the first two. But yeah.
No, the third one.
How about you, Ten? So do you have a favorite that you've seen or read?
Yeah, I will not do the easy thing and say that any of the top tier Chinese dramas are experts in romance. That's the romance I actually watch without having issues. But I will go with the first romance book that I read and I really liked. And I was very, very young. Well, not too young, but I was young enough. Like I want to say I was early junior high school, sort of around there is. And the book is called The Iron Master. It is by George Onnet. Let me check it real quick. Is by on Google. Yeah, by George Onnet. I remember. Okay. And it is this story about. It is set somewhere in the 19th century, I think, or 18th century, somewhere there. And it is about this girl, this woman that is of marriageable age, and she's part of the aristocracy, she's noble. However, her family is bankrupt. And it was during the Industrial Revolution takes place. And so her family, although they are all aristocrats, they are broke. And she doesn't know that. So they are looking to marry her off to someone that is filthy rich. And eventually, I'm not going to draw it out. They force her basically to marry this young dude that is like an upstart because he has factories and he basically made his own wealth with iron forges, and he was an iron master. And things expanded from there, and now he's very, very rich. And he's also young. I mean, he's supposed to be like a prodigy guy that arose from some kind of village around there. And if I remember right, he was a part of a village family that used to be serfs on her parents' like big fields or whatever. And he is madly in love with her. And that's why although he knows that they are broke, he doesn't know, but he knows, of course, because he has intelligence and all of that. He marries her because he loves her, and he has always loved her since he was like very young, blah blah. But she hates this. She looks down on him because he's not a noble, and she wanted to marry this other guy that was a noble and that she was in love with and stuff. But he basically blows her off because she's broke, and he marries some other noble girl. And so she gets like the worst week of her life, where, the guy that she wants basically tells her, "You're not good enough," and she also gets married to a guy that she doesn't like, and she resents because she feels that she's being forced into this marriage. And so then, and that's the one thing that the Iron Master didn't know, that the girl didn't actually want to marry him. He thought that she was willing and that she also liked him. And so realizes that on the day of like the first that they share together, where she tells him that I hate you, I find you disgusting, and get the bleep out of my bedroom, sort of.
You dear.
And so he leaves, and he tells her like, okay, yeah, and so they have, yeah, and that's like in the first 2 chapters. and so he says, okay, you know what, fine, you used me, fine, I don't like you either at this point, you are despicable. And but we have to keep appearances, because it was a time where divorces were not a thing, and he had to keep a reputation and protect his businesses and all of that. So he said, when we are out in public, you are going to have to pretend that we are a loving couple, and then when we are in private, get lost in somewhere in my big mansion, I don't care where you are, just don't be around me. And now we have our story, because she slowly gets to know what he does and how he treats his workers and his general personality. And he's a very gentle person, but he now resents her back. And so she starts like, but now it's too late because he hates her. And now we have our story, and it's a very, very nice story. It's lovey-dovey towards the end, and I'm not going to spoil it. You can understand how a story like that goes, but the way they get to their happy ending, do have a happy ending, is very nice. And it is like both people are really interesting characters, and I remember I really, really liked it. Now that I mentioned it and talked about it, I want to read it again. So
Okay.
Oh, this is a book, or
yeah, it is a book.
what's it called?
The Iron Master.
Oh,
It reminds me a bit. Now you're talking, how she has to marry him and all this kind of stuff, and learns to love him. It reminds me of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, but
right.
but he's not a beast. And the thing is, when she sees him at the marriage, because that's when she sees him at the church or something, like around there, I don't remember very well. She has this image of him being like this old cobwebby guy that is probably a disgusting old man that wants to marry his granddaughter, and then walks in this young man that is also handsome and dynamic and stuff, and she likes that, but then she holds on to her resentment that, yeah, he might be nice, but he's basically a bastard, so I don't like him. So, yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun story.
Yeah, it sounds like a kind of classic. Has a lot of classic tropes of really classic romances.
Yeah.
Characters sort of getting to like each other.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and probably, I mean, it was written far enough back that some of the tropes probably were being created at the time.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like I say though, Beauty and the Beast has kind of similar feel in that characters are learning to like each other and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. And the interesting thing about the story is that the one that is basically trapped in the marriage is the husband, because he doesn't limit her in anything, but he cannot not be married to her at this point. Like he realizes the truth that she doesn't want him and all of that way after the fact, where he can do something about it. So he's the one. I mean, she controls everything basically, whether she wants to approach him or not approach him and stuff, and it's basically how she changes the situation, and of course has to convince him that she's sincere. But in the end, if you look at how things happen, it's really about her and how she grows, she lets go of her. I mean, she has a lot of classist opinions and stuff, and she has never been around like working class people or peasants or anything like that. So she thinks that they are some kind of inferior creature. So she has to amend a lot of her cosmos in a sense, and the way that she looks at it. And that is also the interesting thing. Like the romance is there, and it's very, very much a part of the story. But really, how she realigns, she becomes a completely different person than how she is when she begins. So, yeah.
What are some classic romances you guys can think of? I can think of a few, like, say, Anna Karenina is quite interesting, and it's a very complicated romance in Anna Karenina. Then we have
Dr. Zhivago.
Yeah, I haven't read Dr. Zhivago.
I have just seen the movie, I'll be honest. So.
And then we've got, say, Pride and Prejudice, which is a favourite of people as a romance.
Yeah.
But I think of it as a class-based comedy when I read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is definitely a romance as well. It's a classic romance.
It's an interesting one. So we've got a woman who's sort of pursuing a fellow who's slightly out of her league, and that seems to be the story of it. And she's not wanting to pursue him initially, but she kind of falls into it. And he doesn't like her, and she doesn't like him, and it's weird.
Yeah,
it's fun. Persuasion, which is pretty good, which is like an older romance. So you haven't got characters who are like in the initial blush of love, like young 20-year-olds. You get characters who are a bit more experienced, a bit older, and finding love again, which is a pretty cool concept.
Yeah, finding love again because they were persuaded not like lose it earlier. So yeah.
So classics for a reason, and of course Beauty and the Beast, which is a very classic, and a lot of people are like brought up with that one, and they have a crush on the Beast, especially the Disney version. Yes. Oh, go on, Baines.
That story is remade apparently so often and rewritten in modern context. And over and over and over. From what I've heard, like it's super popular. Just whatever it is about that dynamic.
Who is? I've never seen the Disney version, funnily enough, but I grew up with it. But yeah, never saw the Disney version. But
Disney version is phenomenal. Really great.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the
you
fantastic
really
TV series with Ron Perlman and what's her name?
Sarah Connor and Hellboy.
Yes.
I think we would be remiss if we didn't at least mention Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet. I was thinking.
Oh my God! Yes, that's a toxic romance.
I don't know if it's a toxic romance. It is a toxic situation for sure.
Yeah, it's a very toxic situation. So that has been remade over and over and over again because people love the theme of people who aren't families who aren't meant to be together, kids who aren't meant to be in a relationship with each other, but they're going to be in a relationship anyway, despite their family's wishes. And
it's also, I have to think, on purpose, a look at the passionate kind of love of young people in particular. That infatuation. Shakespeare probably not celebrating that. I'm going to guess.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I read, every time when I consider the story of Romeo and Juliet, I think there are two aspects. Because there is a Rosalind in the beginning that Romeo has grown out of, but he was passionately in love with her in the beginning and all of that. There's that little preamble there. And on the other hand, he basically dies because of his love for Juliet and that. So I think Shakespeare's commentary on young love is that you have to let it run its course, otherwise it can be very catastrophic if you stop them for no reason. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
Like if you let them be, they probably would grow out of each other because they are very young. So that's one. And the other thing is that the story is not really about them. It's about the clans and how they basically drive themselves to perdition because of this massive feud that is pointless. And that's why it starts with two houses, both alike in dignity, blah, blah, in Fair Verona. So I think it's more about that. And that this whole thing would have been a nothing burger if they were not so unshakable in their resolve to completely stop and frustrate and clash with each other and all of that.
So, yeah.
There's a feud, basically.
Yeah.
Family feud.
Not quite a family, but community feud.
Yeah.
Two families clashing.
Community feud.
They hate each other. The Capulets and the Montagues.
Yeah. And
are
the
you
thing
Team
is,
Capulet or Team Montague?
None. They're both idiots.
I'll just say I'm Team Capulet because that sounds like cat. So they'll be the good guys. These damn Montague dogs. Us cats have to stick together.
Cats and dogs.
I am team. You know what? I am team priest. I like the priest.
Well, any stupid plans about poison that fail?
I mean, yeah. And his stupid plans about poison and that, because he was the only one that was trying to at least do something to rectify a situation and bring some kind of positive ending into all this. And so, I am team priest, even though he's his plan fails so spectacularly. Yeah.
It's a bumbler. All right, so what another famous romance thing is Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
I don't know whether that was originally a famous romance thing. I mean, there was a bit of that in there, but I mean, after what's his name, Andrew Lloyd Webber did his musical version, suddenly, my God!
All right. Are you Team Phantom or Team Raoul? At least in the version by Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Always Raoul, I think.
Thank you. Me
Phantom's
too.
a dick.
Almost everyone is Team Phantom.
Phantom is a dick. He's
Yeah.
just oh my God! Get over yourself, guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he would be the type that would go into these incel forums and
Yeah.
rant about things. Though I have to say,
Yeah.
and to be completely fair, the way that he's portrayed is very sexy. Even if you don't cast, was it Hugh Jackman? I think it was Hugh Jackman in the movie.
Really?
Yeah. But even if you, I have seen the musical in London, and I will forever be in the debt of the guy at the help desk of my hotel, because he found us seats for that, although it was supposedly packed. So we could go sit. And the guy playing the Phantom was an older guy, I think one of the better singers of the scene in London. I don't remember right now his name. I think Michael Crawford, I think it was the
Yes,
name.
Michael
I
Crawford.
could be wrong.
He was like the original cast of that.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to see him. He's not, sexy young man material. At least he wasn't when I was. But the whole, aura of the secret gothic appeal, the music, blah, all of that is very sexy. The Phantom is very sexy, but he is definitely not the person that you should choose.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yes. So, the lady likes the bad boy. Sorry, Baines.
Right. Yeah.
No, she doesn't actually. I don't think she does. She's afraid of him, and she had a weird attachment to him because he basically was around since her father died. But I don't think she's actually attracted to him. So
Okay. All right. Oh, Baines, go on.
I think, on Baines.
Just the idea of that, at least when I was younger, it definitely appealed to me in a big way. The idea of loving someone that, quote unquote, at least loving someone that much. I mean, you're right about him being incel, really.
He's a bit of a psychopath, isn't he? Well, not psychopath.
Yeah.
A dangerous person.
Yeah.
He's a serial killer, basically.
Yeah, there you go.
But the idea of the gothic love and love and death, the whole thing. I saw a live production of it too many years ago, and it was spectacular.
Wow.
I was more into how spectacular the production was than the story
Yeah.
at that time. But I also saw the Joel Schumacher movie that made him cast him as a very dashing and handsome guy and all that stuff. And it was, he loved her always. And then I was telling my friends about it after I saw that movie, and they were like, "Well, do they ever get together?" And I was like, "He kisses her once, and that's it." In the movie, anyway. I don't know about other versions, and I thought that was I loved that, and my friends were laughing at me. But I guess I like that kind of thing, and I
No,
love.
I like it. I like it, honestly. I mean, the story in general, I love it. And I felt for the fandom in certain ways. It's just that he needed serious help,
Oh
but
yeah.
he never got. Uh, so,
But
yeah.
I guess unrequited love in fiction is I don't know. That's
Mm,
I feel the power of stories like that. Like it's really.
yeah.
I
I
think I've
love
seen.
sorry.
Oh no, go on, Baines.
I was just going to connect it to "Bat Out of Hell," the Meatloaf album. That is very much a
Oh
rock
yeah.
opera, and it's got at least a couple of songs that are about that, like love and death, and it's like passionate love. It's just this overwhelming kind of thing. The lyrics have, like the character in the songs have. And, I just always dug it. But go ahead, Oz.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a bit of a that's a 1950s stylized high school, college kind of romance.
Yeah, like a high school car crash or motorcycle crash story.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
You can really dig a lot out of that. Yeah, with that tied in with like a kind of like an operatic kind of metal feel.
Yeah.
In its own weird way. Of course, that impression is very much, helped on by the beautiful cover artwork of this amazing motorbike launching out of an open grave.
Yeah, it feels like this dark fantasy kind of genre, and the music is awesome, like this epic, and it feels epic. Makes love this epic thing, because that's what love feels. Even destructive love, like when you're young, in particular, it really feels like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're earth shattering and all that stuff.
It's amazing. Oh, yeah. Well, we've only got 4 minutes to go, so we'll wrap up. So, Baines, you do Kaiju Valentine, which is a very love-focused comic, and you two guys, I'll invite you to my lake house. We can discuss this topic further. So yeah, Kaiju Valentine has all different aspects of love. With that is the main plot, basically. Two characters who have that kind of relationship with each other, and a lot of other characters who want to have that relationship with these characters and pull them away from each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's a handy
reasons.
Shortcut to conflict. I'll say that. It's probably why it's my go-to. So.
Yeah, love is a great conflict. Getting into love, falling out of love, trying to stay in love.
Yeah.
There's all those different aspects, and all of them very hard and difficult. There's a lot to mine in that. All right. Well, one of my favorite love things at the moment that I'm watching is the TV show Lucifer, where you have this character who's like the devil, and he's sort of come to Earth to solve crimes with a partner, and they have this will they won't they kind of relationship, and eventually they fall in love. And with will they won't they relationships, what I hate is when it stays unrequited. I like it when it gets requited, but not only when it gets requited, when it stays together.
Yeah.
I do not like it when they go, oh, actually, that was shit, so we broke up apart and now we're like exes and we're together. No, just, if it's really worth doing, then put them together and keep them together and keep on going, develop something interesting out of that. That's what I like. So that's my preference.
Mm-hmm.
With a will they, won't they? Yeah, get them together and see what happens. The worst one is...
I really like that.
Oh, yeah. The worst one was How I Met Your Mother, where there's this, great kind of relationship between the main character, Ted Mosby, and this character, Robin, where they get together very early on, and after that they kind of fall out of love, and the characters love each other characters, and then they kind of fall in love again, and then for the whole bunch of the seasons they're not together, and then the very end he marries some other woman, and then it shows but she died, and then he marries Robin anyway, and that was terrible. So bad.
Yeah.
But the Quackcast is going to end, so happy Valentine's Day, Baines and Tarts. I love you both.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy
Yeah,
Valentine's.
and I love you both as well.
Aw. Lots of love.
Yes.
Bye-bye, people. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.